Hello everybody. So I broke my promise. I said I was going to unbox some stuff from my last crystal shipment, but I didn't. It was huge and it was packed really well, and it took me longer to unpack all the wrapping than it would have taken to just show you the crystals. But I just received my order from Red Wheel Weiser Books. They are a publisher of things like tarot cards, esoteric books, metaphysical books, things like that. If you want to learn about herbalism, if you want to learn about witchcraft, if you want to learn about all sorts of different spiritual paths, they have a book for that. So we're going to open up our box. The first thing I see, The Year of the Witch by Temperance Alden. Got a packing list. And then I have not read this one, but it looked really good. Wild Witch, A Guide to Earth Magic by Marion Green. Got a couple of those. And now this is a book I do have. I'm not really huge into astrology, but it's kind of good to know what things are, what things mean. A lot of things that have to do with tarot relate to astrology. So if you don't know anything about astrology at all, and you want to learn how to read tarot cards, it's not a bad idea to pick up a simple book. And this is Astrology for Real Life by Theresa. I like it. It's not like super long. It's written well. It's easy to understand. I'd recommend it. I think even if you know some things about astrology, you'll still learn some new stuff. Got a couple of those. And then I got some decks too. And this is Seasons of the Witch, Beltane Oracle by Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. And Juliet Diaz has some other books too, which I think they're pretty good. Can't remember what they are off the top of my head. But you know what? Check her out as an author on any of your local bookstores or online bookstores. You might find something good there. Now, I saw this book in the catalog and I thought, oh, I need to get this, because the only book that I have on tea leaf reading was written in, I think, like 1918 or 1920. And so I wanted to get a new one. So this really kind of caught my eye. It's Tea Leaf Reading, Discover Your Fortune in the Bottom of a Cup by Jacqueline Towers, author of The Little Book of Dream Symbols. So I'm excited to read this one, but I do have a couple of copies. So that will be available for sale, and I'm going to try and get some of these things priced up quick so I can bring them to New Brighton Stockyard Days, and that will be tomorrow morning that we get out and get started setting that up. So we're hoping that our booth will be up by like 4, but we have to have it up by 5. So if you're in the neighborhood and you want to swing by and say hello, get your cards read, check out some crystals. We've got a nice selection of crystals, large and small. We have bracelets, we have necklaces, we have pendulums, we have Palo Santo, we have smoke cleansing bundles. We have all sorts of things. So it's more than just crystals. So please stop by, take a look at what we have. I'm still in the process of setting up my website. I do work a full-time job besides Hemlock&Vine, so it's just taken longer than I wanted to. Now this next one is Crystal Medicine Oracle by Rochelle Charman, and it's illustrated by Len Hibble. And I thought that this one looked like it would be kind of cool because we sell crystals. So if you like crystals, this might be an oracle deck to check out. I have not opened this one yet. I have bought multiples of several of these decks. So this will be a real quick video here. I'm not going to keep you like super long, but I did buy extras, and so I will be putting up videos as I go, just with my thoughts on what these decks are like. Some decks are really awesome. Some decks are printed on really nice, thick cardstock, and they're really durable, but they don't have that nice slide when you're shuffling them. There's things you can do to resolve that. I mean, you can use a little bit of cornstarch powder, or they make a powder too, I guess, that magicians use for their card tricks. So there are things about decks that maybe you want to know before you go out and buy one. And if you think that you have to be gifted a deck, no, you don't. You can go out and buy whatever tarot deck or oracle deck calls to you. If you are gifted a deck, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, not a lot of people get that as a gift, especially if maybe you don't want people to know that you're reading tarot, and that's fine. But if you go out and you buy your own deck, you can pick the one that has the artwork that calls to you. You can pick one that maybe you just are drawn to it for whatever symbolism or the artwork, or maybe it is put together by an author whose books you've read and you really resonate with what they've written, or what they've written resonates with you. So go for it. Buy your own deck. Otherwise, if you see a deck and you have a friend who really, really wants one, they make great gifts. So this next one is Seasons of the Witch, Samhain Oracle. And it is illustrated by Jada Rose, I believe, and this is another Lorraine Anderson and Juliet Diaz. So I thought that one looked interesting. And then here's another Crystal Medicine Oracle. As I mentioned, I got multiples of some of these, so I'm not going to pull them all out. But that just means if I sell one, I still have another one. Okay, now this one I thought was really cool. I have not used this deck yet, but this was one that I thought maybe, well, I'll get a copy as well. And this is the Radiant Tarot, Eldridge Barnstone. So it is The Pathway to Creativity by Alexandra Eldridge and Tony Barnstone. And one of the reasons why I like tarot and I use tarot, I am an artist. I used to sell a lot of my paintings. I had a friend who had a shop in a small town, and so I would put my artwork up in her shop and sell it there. So I've sold a lot of stuff. I've sold more things than I ever kept, which is kind of sad because back then I didn't have a scanner, I didn't have a good camera, so who knows where it went. Maybe someday after I'm long dead it might be worth money. Who knows? But I like to use tarot for creativity, because if I'm feeling a little stuck, if I'm feeling a little blocked, but I just have that urge, I want to make something, I want to create something, and I don't want to paint more flowers because I paint a lot of flowers, right? So I might decide to ask for a little bit of insight. What should I paint? And I might pull something that reminds me of a memory of something that happened a long time ago, or it might make me start thinking of a certain place or an animal or a person. And that's kind of a neat thing about creativity, because you can draw on the creativity of others as inspiration. You don't have to copy their work, although tracing is a good way to get started. I have, 3 talented artistic boys who are now adults. When they were little, they used to trace things all the time out of magazines and comic books. Now they're all really artistic. But use it as a jumpstart to kickstart to create your own stuff. So what do we have next? Another hobby is that. And these are cool. Crystal flashcards. So if you really want to learn what these crystals are, this is a great way to do it. And this looks like it's got some really good pictures. I have lots of crystal books. The first book I ever bought, actually the first book I ever had, I didn't buy it. I checked it out from the Hennepin County Library because I had no idea where you could buy these books when I was 13. So my very first book that I checked out was Judy Hall's Crystal Bible. I have a copy. Do I like it? It's all right. Is it the end-all be-all of crystal knowledge? No. A lot of the knowledge that you are going to gain about crystals will be through working with them. And by all means, if you want something like flashcards to help you remember the names of them, we buy and sell a lot of crystals in this house. My granddaughter, Lexi, is probably better at remembering all of the names of all of the crystals than I am. But I'm getting older, and I don't remember everything. So, if you want to try something new, flashcards, I have at least one. I might have more in here. Oh, yep, I do have more. And then this is another one. This is the Crystal Grid Oracle. If you've ever learned about gridding, or if you haven't, this would probably be a really cool thing to look into if you are interested at all in how the energy of crystals work with each other. You can arrange crystals in grid patterns and get that energy flowing to manifest good things in your life, or help you work on goals. So this can help learn about that. I think I might even have some books on that too. So let's see, what else do we got? We have Mindful Living Inspiration Cards. Not an oracle deck. Not a tarot deck. This is like an affirmation deck. If you are going through rough times, if you would just like to start your day with just a nice little affirmation, that's a really good deck to do that with. Now this one, I saw the artwork and I thought, wow, I need this because it's really cool. It is called the Sacred Sisterhood Tarot, Deck and Guidebook for Fierce Women. A Shawnee Dewberry, illustrated by Connie Corey, and I am probably massacring these names, and if I am, by all means, correct me, because I like to know. But I saw the artwork on this and I thought it would be really, really a cool deck. It kind of reminds me of old school tattoo art, which I am also a fan of. So I got one of those to add to my collection as well. So I may be reading with that one soon. I like to get to know my decks before I start reading for others with them. And this is a deck that I do have. And I bought a couple of them because I like this deck. And it is The Relative Tarot by Carrie. The cool thing about this, and I don't know if you're going to be able to see this deck has got pictures of ancestors in it. Real ancestors. She has a group that follow her on, I think it's her social media groups like Facebook. And when she was creating this deck, she asked for photos of people's ancestors. You're going to find every walk of life represented in this deck. It is so cool. You have women who are belly dancers, and they have all of the really cool like coin belts and things like that and scarves. You have people who look like they were probably priests in a Buddhist temple. You have Victorian men and women who they look like they're something out of Downton Abbey. There's all sorts of really cool pictures in that deck. So if you haven't checked that out and you're interested in working with ancestors at all, that would be a really cool place to start. And that one doesn't come with your typical guidebook. That one comes with basically a little instruction manual that is going to teach you how to find your signifier cards. And signifier cards are something that I could get into in depth. So I'm not going to do it here, but I'll probably do it in another video. There's another copy. And there's another one in here. So what's next? Okay, that's another copy. And that's another copy. That's another copy. And the Enchanted Spell Oracle. Medieval Hedge Witch Magic. Priestess Moon. That's another one I really like the artwork on. Back when I was going to college, I took a course in the history of Britain. And this is like not just current history, this is like going back before Britain was Britain. And a lot of that artwork is just, it reminds me of the textbook with all of these pictures of illuminated manuscripts and stained glass and all these other things. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. I love art. That is what drew me to that deck. But then there's also the Hedge Witch magic. Those who ride the hedge between this world and the other side. So that'll be a good one to learn about. Now this is another one. We're going to hop on the trendy witch train here. Essential oil cards. It sounded interesting. I have not opened this yet. I have not reviewed this yet. I will be looking at this seriously though, because I have been working with essential oils since 1996, I believe, right around the time my youngest son was born. One of the things that I discovered with essential oils, there are essential oils that you can and cannot use around young children and pets. But there are a lot of things you can use essential oils for, like you can make yourself a really awesome, natural, organic lice treatment. And when you have little kids, we made a lot of that. But some of that stuff my kids grew up with, and as they got older and older, it was like, oh, Mom, my nose is stuffy. Can you get out your oils? And my granddaughter's does that. She does that too. So if you're looking to get into oils, this might be the way to go. I'll give you my opinion on that later. Okay, we got a couple more boxes left. It's another pack of essential oil cards. Now these I thought were really cool, but I only got the trials because I want to open them up and I want to look at them. I don't know if I'm going to sell them. I might if they're good. So, The Language of Flowers by Sherilyn Darcy. Loving support from the wisdom of nature. One of the things that I learned about back when I was going to college, I actually have a degree in creative writing, and a lot of the things that I learned about in the older texts and the older artwork, there's a lot of flower symbolism. Certain flowers mean certain things, right? So, I mean, you look at like a forget-me-not. Don't forget me. Here, remember me. Take this flower. Don't forget me, right? Certain things are in their name. But then there's a lot of things that you wouldn't think would mean anything, but they do. So I'm going to review this. I'm actually going to open it up. I'm going to take a look, and I'm going to probably post a review on it because I thought the artwork alone was pretty. But The Language of Flowers, and that's another thing that people who do any sort of green magic or shamanistic practices, I believe that we are all connected. We are all connected. We have living spirits, all of us do. My flowers in my garden, my vegetables in my garden, me, we are all connected through spirit. And that language of flowers, I think, is just, it kind of speaks to the whole, the shamanist practices in me that I was doing before I knew that shamanism was a thing. I think there are sometimes things in our practices that we do without realizing, what is this? Or why do I do this? We just do it. Small children going and hugging a tree when they're upset, that was me. Of course, my mom told me, you're upset, go hug a tree. So I did it. So our last little packet here is inspired by Frida. Akal Pratam. I'm hoping I'm saying the name correctly, but I know a lot of people in my friend group who really look up to Frida. And let's see if I can just read. I don't have my glasses here. The strength of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo's creative spirit inspires unapologetic self-expression and celebrates the potential to overcome great challenges. This woman was in an accident. She was in a horrible accident, and she was in a hospital bed for months. That's when she started drawing and painting. So if there's anything that we can learn through adversity, that would be a woman to learn from. I admire her too. So I'm going to look at this one. I'm going to tell you what my thoughts are, because obviously she is no longer with us, but I'm hoping a little bit of her spirit came through with this artist's work on this deck, these cards. So I'll be taking a look at that. I'll let you know what I think about that too. And for now, I am going to try and slap some price tags on these things and get it all into inventory. So I'm all ready to go tomorrow. So if you want to stop by New Brighton Stockyard Days, it is in New Brighton. Check out my Facebook page. I have links to the park that it's at. It's near the New Brighton Community Center and I believe Long Lake Park. But it's a great park. There's lots of shade trees, and they're going to have an antique car show and lots of food trucks. There's going to be a really just all sorts of fun stuff going on. And it's going to start Friday with live music. So we're going to be there, and we're going to be selling our crystals and jamming out to some tunes, and hopefully we will see you there. Thank you.